Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, today we got to celebrate. Today was the day that Bitcoin broke its previous all-time high of $109,000, and we are now above that. We went as high as 110. Does not look like Bitcoin wants to stop. There are a lot of reasons why we keep on going up. Here's the thing. Could the next stop be $600,000? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a scenario where Bitcoin goes up to $600,000. And it's something I came up with, but it makes a lot of sense. All right, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is one of those nights that I'm live streaming, and I haven't invited Mr. Johnny Walker to the show for a long, long, long time. So it's been a while. All right, but before we get to that, Bitcoin, as you can see, is right below $110,000. In fact, it is at 110. Things are wild today. And you know what? Here's the thing. This is not unexpected. I told you guys this was going to happen. Everything I've been covering, all the great fundamentals, the macro factors that are driving things upwards, all the buying, the inflows, the decreased supply on exchange, all this adds up, right? A lot of people did not believe. They sat out on the sidelines, and now they are regretting it because we are at all-time high. There was plenty of opportunity to DCA, even just a month or two ago when we were still sitting in the 90s, in the 80s, even in the 70s. Just a month ago. Can you believe that? A month ago, we hit $70,000. And now we are like a full 40, 50% higher. This is the power of holding and DCAing. Again, this is just the beginning. So right now, the biggest macro factor that's driving Bitcoin higher is this. And this is very, very bad for our nation in the US. And this is something that a lot of other nations are dealing with right now. Ever since we got that credit cut, our credit rating cut, our bond, it seems like our bonds have become garbage. No one seems to want them. And that is why the interest rates on the yield, or the yield interest rate, I should say, has been skyrocketing. This is not good at all. This is like kind of like the worst case scenario for our country, because keep in mind, I've talked about how there's like $6 to $10 trillion worth of bonds maturing in the next 6 to 12 months. Guess what? If we don't have the money to pay them off, which we don't, we have to issue new bonds, which means we're borrowing more at a much higher interest rate, which will cost us even more interest, right? But the worst case scenario is that even if we try to do that and no one wants it, then what is the U.S. government going to do? Well, they're going to end up printing a lot more money, which is going to cause inflation to go up. So this is like the worst case scenario that's happening right now. And this morning I covered about Japan is having the same problem. I'm sure other countries are having the same problems, So it is bad. And Fed Chair Powell does not want to help the situation. He doesn't want to contribute to growing inflation once again. So this is the reason why it's looking very dark for our country in terms of financial situation. And plus, all the tariff stuff is not helping. Trade deals doesn't seem to be lowering interest rates either. You know, this is really, really bad. Really bad all around. Except for Bitcoin. It's making a lot of people rethink about fiat, rethink about how the financial system works, and why so many are flocking to Bitcoin right now. This is almost like a dream. Those of you guys that have been with me for years, you know, we've talked about Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation, being a store of value, something that everyone could turn to in turmoil. Didn't really happen in previous cycles. It's happening right now in this cycle. There are definitely a lot of big players, whales, institutions, countries, states that are now turning to Bitcoin because they are just fed up. They want to protect their wealth. They want to protect their money. And they do that by opting out and buying Bitcoin. They're opting in something better. So, I mean, this scenario, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. As the macro conditions worsen, Bitcoin's going to become stronger. It's just really that simple. And so many are now preferring Bitcoin over gold. Gold was always the safe haven before. No longer. There's more Americans that hold Bitcoin than gold. And that number will only increase because all the young kids and the Gen Zs and Gen, millennials are kind of old now. I don't know what's after Gen Zs. Guess what? They're not going to grow up saying, I want to buy gold. They're going to grow up saying, I want to buy Bitcoin or I want to buy memes, but still crypto, right? And that will only increase, not decrease, going forward. So think about that. And also think about this. Texas is awaiting their governor's signature. They will become the biggest state in the United States and a third state, I believe, to get a Bitcoin reserve. That is huge as well. Okay, that will certainly drive things upwards. That will cause other states to rethink their position if they're not thinking about it, although most states are. That is going to be huge. And also we got the Genius Act, which deals with regulating stablecoins and overall just creating a framework for crypto in the United States, is moving forward. This, to many, is a great, great catalyst that could push Bitcoin and crypto much higher. Maybe the next stop is going to be $175,000. It's just good all around. Good all around. You know, when Bitcoin goes higher, guess what? The alts are going to go higher too, right? It's just really that simple. Now, outside of macro stuff and adoption stuff, just if you're just looking at Bitcoin overall, hey, you look at the fundamentals. Inflows are down 82%, meaning no one is depositing their Bitcoin to be sold. USDT reserves are skyrocketing, meaning there are a lot of new cash coming in. And of course, reserves are dropping as well. You put all these together, guess what's going to happen? Right? Things are going to go up. So if you're looking at some of these other metrics, like MVRV, it's predicting 125 as the next stop. A lot of people have said this already. So we're already at 110. If we keep pushing this week, we still have several days left and the weekend. If we keep pushing, and pushing and pushing, we may be at that 125 by Sunday. It's not that far off. And then once we're at 125, 140 or 150 is around the corner. But here's the thing. What about that 600,000 mark? Is that going to happen? Well, some people already predicted that. But this person, Fred Krueger, actually presents a scenario where it could actually happen really quickly within 90 days starting July 21st. And what is this scenario? Basically, he breaks down along the same lines I've just explained that interest rates, okay, treasury yield is going to continue to go up because less and less countries and people want to buy or lend United States money. So if the treasury yield, like the 10 years, spikes up to 9.2%, it's at 4.5 something, so it doubles from here. And the Fed has to freeze it because it's just no one wants it, right? If we have a scenario like that, well, that's going to be really, really bad financially, okay, for the United States. And that will cause mass exodus of fiat and massive purchases of commodities like gold. He's predicting 10,400 for gold, which is quite a lot from here. That's like 3x from here. But also Bitcoin going from 150 to 600,000. So there's two things to note. He's predicting that Bitcoin will be at 150,000 by July 21st, which it's not that far. I mean, that if we get to 120 in a week or two, then we could get a 150 certainly by July 21st. But what's interesting is from that July 21st to wherever 90 days after that, September, October. So this is the worst case scenario for our economy, but the best case scenario for Bitcoin. Because if no one wants those bonds, if we continue to have these auctions where they are really weak and no one really wants to buy them, it's going to be super, super, super bad for our economy. And I don't know what they're going to do, what the Fed is going to do, what the administration going to do, what the new Treasury Secretary is going to do. All these guys, they got to figure it out quickly, real quick. But us in Bitcoin and crypto, we will benefit. We will benefit. So let's see if this comes true. First things first, we got to hit 150. So that's another 50% from here. Can it happen by July 21st? Well, I think it can. I think there's a good shot of it. Why not? And that's not going to be the top either, I don't believe. I think we're going to go a lot higher. I don't know about 600,000. If it happens, I don't think anyone's going to be complaining. Imagine what altcoin season will be like if Bitcoin goes to $600,000. Like, what would Sol be at, or Sui be at, or XRP be at? I mean, they would be up 10x from these levels at least. 10, 15, 20x from these levels. It would be quite insane to think about. All right. Other things. Outside of Bitcoin, SEC approves BlackRock's Ethereum ETF in-kind redemption, which means if you hold BlackRock's Ethereum ETF, you could actually redeem it for ETH. I don't know who wants to do that. If they want to ETH in the first place, just buy ETH, not ETH ETF. But you know what? These ETFs are getting more and more interesting by the day. We're going to get leverage ETFs soon. We got these in the redemptions for ETH. They're coming out with ones that include staking rewards, which is almost like a dividend. I mean, there are so many derivatives that's being launched this year. A lot of these will help contribute to the FOMO, to the liquidity, a lot. In fact, tomorrow, we're going to get a very first XRP futures ETF. Can this help XRP in a big way? And then after this, we're going to get the spot ETF, which will help it even bigger. I mean, there are a lot of stuff happening. A lot of great stuff. Outside of this, you got some Solana news. Solana DeFi is growing. Apollo's launching a 785 billion AUM tokenized credit fund. Okay, so this is obviously involving RWA. RWA is going to continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And let's not forget, they also have their own SOL filing too, right? With XRP, with SOL, and with many others, the ETFs are going to make a huge move, I believe. And plus, those of you guys that are waiting, the new Solana phone Seeker will be out August 4th for $500. Interesting. And they're going to get a new token, SKR token. I don't know why it needs another token, but it's going to get it. It's going to get it. The very first Solana phone was very hot because of all the memes, the airdrop memes. They already paid for the phone. So this one probably super hot as well. All right. That's pretty much it. Overall, pretty good day. Pretty good day. Will we continue? You know, the funny thing is, the last few days, this whole week, you know, we had some up and downs. Wall Street opened red, just like this morning, yesterday. But after open, you just see the strength flow into Bitcoin. We're actually seeing a reverse effect, an inverse effect right now, where people are just coming into Bitcoin because they don't like what they're seeing. And this is probably going to continue. All right. Let's do some Q&A. All right, time to pour myself a drink here. I haven't had Blue Label in a while. Actually, I take that back. I did have some Blue Label when I was in Singapore, Dubai, but I haven't had it at home for a while. Let's just put it that way. Cheers. Jackson Elliott, I've been watching for 5 years and did some life-changing profit taking today. Thanks for your daily videos. Congrats. Congrats. It's never a bad idea to take profits, okay? Especially if you don't have any dry powder on the side. If you need to build up a cash pile, this is as good a time as any. Little Nikki. Estimates for top BTC links, so I'm not going to do all of them, but yeah, maybe this. I think it's more closer to 250 for this top, but you know, who knows? Fred presents a compelling case on why we could go higher. Ricky is asking about space and time coin. That's what I just covered. The one that's bringing interoperability to Solana, no, to Sui, and Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think it's like a bridge of some sort. I'm not too familiar with it, but I think it's a bridge of some sort to bring liquidity. If so, that's great. Thoughts on Metaplanet stock? Next, I mean, it has been skyrocketing in Japan. It's not like we could buy in the U.S. If you're in Japan, then yeah, I would say it's probably even better than MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has been doing well, but stalled a lot. I think Sailor's selling off a lot to buy Bitcoin, which is fine. But others like Metaplanet, just like they're skyrocketing. Sandra, welcome. Tony asked, do you think this will be a month that Bitcoin dominance tops? No. Bitcoin dominance will top when it's close to the top. So this is nowhere close to the top. A couple of people says, Say. There's nothing wrong with Say. I covered Say like a few weeks ago. They're trying to get, become EVM compliant or compatible. They're trying to get away from Cosmos. I think that's a big thing. They're promising L1. SUI versus XRP. Will outperform the cycle? Probably SUI. It's lower market cap. It's easier to move higher if you're measuring percentages. Have you looked at a new RWA L1 by Eric Smith, KTA? Pretty low market cap right now. No, never heard of it. Well, I wouldn't say 300 million is a low market cap. FDM is 800 million, so it's on base. That right there, I don't like. Common ground for all payment networks and assets. Move assets across networks, trade real-time, real-world assets. So it's almost like a bridge or L0. It sounds good, and I like the way the website looks. So I just need to do more research, but this ain't bad. The only thing I could say that's bad about it is it's on base, and there's not a lot of big exchanges. Murray, thank you. And then Chester, huge super chat. Thank you, my man. Always appreciate it. DDT, you're welcome. $110. I bet there's a lot of liquidation walls above 110. Yep, right here. 111. There's a big wall right there. If we could break through that, we'll head to 115, and then above 150 to 120. Look at that up there. There's nothing. Nothing up there. So we just need to shatter through this. We'll be in 120s in no time. And we got five memberships. Steven has been Unix been kicking your butt. No, recently I've been doing pretty well, except Pi. I lost a lot with Pi. I hate that project now. But other than that, it's hard. It's hard to lose money when everything's going up. It's that's the beauty with leverage. Some people tell me, oh, I've been doing so good with leverage and stuff. I'm like, yeah, everyone looks like a genius playing with leverage in a up market. It's those volatility moments that will kill you. Nate got keys. Nate, haven't seen you in here for a while. Hopefully things are doing well with you, with your channel. Rich, I appreciate that. Appreciate it, my man. Yes, Lane. Will you be taking some profits from Bitcoin when it reaches top? Yeah, I think so. I think after we hit 150, I'll start pulling money out. You know, make sure I'm prepared for the top. Though I just don't think that we're going to have a blow off top and go down 80% and go into crypto winter for 2 years, 2.5 years. I don't see that happening after this cycle, but you know, I do anticipate we'll have normal corrections, sideways movement, you know, scary things. It's always important to have that cash, right? So after 150 and beyond, I'm gonna start pulling some money out, I think. Thoughts on BTC loan to buy more Bitcoin? No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Even though it seems like it's very, very unlikely for Bitcoin to go down like 33% or 50%, it's not worth it. Not worth it. Camera up. Congrats to you as well. It's amazing, right? How fast things turn around. When we were down in the 80s, low 80s, people were getting super depressed. And then we started climbing. I'm like, hey, you know, we're not that far off from 100,000. And we quickly approached 100,000. And I'm like, we're not that far off from all-time high. And we quickly hit all-time high. Bitcoin might be down, but it's never down and out, right? It's the one asset you really just want to hold forever and DCA as much as you can. It's a game accumulation. Board bricks, Ithaca protocol. I have no idea what Ithaca protocol is. It has, what, 1 million market cap? I'm not even going to look at it. It's way too small for me to look at. Oh, today's Wednesday, huh? Today's DCA day. By the way, just give you guys a heads up. You know, it might be hard for you guys to look at a DCA portfolio and stuff like that, right? And I'm going to be redesigning my website, CryptosRUs.com, and I'm going to put the DCA portfolio in there. So at any time anyone wants to see it, they can. So the new website is going to be fantastic. Shoot, I forgot my login now. Hold on. All right. Finally logged in. Vic shoots. Appreciate it. All right. So here's the updated DCA portfolio. Up 3% for last day, 4% for last week, 18. All right, so let's just do overall. Overall up to 95%. Oops, here we go. Overall back up to 96%. That's not too bad. Almost up to 40K now. I did say that I think by the end of this cycle, this portfolio will be like $200,000. It seems like it's unlikely. It has to go up, what, 7x, 8x from here? But altcoin season hasn't kicked in. Most of this profit is just from Bitcoin right now. But when altcoin season kicks in, that's when this portfolio starts really skyrocketing. All right, so what am I going to add? Yeah, Solana, Sui, Cardano's up here, BNB, AVAX, XRP, Chainlink, yada yada. There's a lot. You know, even like memes, like Pepe, I'm only up 8%. A lot of these are still in the red. I don't know. Maybe I just go with Bitcoin still. Bitcoin has been out the best performing asset so far. You can't really go wrong with Bitcoin. It's already more than 50% though. That's the thing. Generally speaking, I'm just going to add some L1s. I'm going to divide it 3 ways. I'm very heavy in Solana already, so I'm going to go Sui, AVAX, and XRP. Yeah, lightweight in all these. All right, let's add $33 to this. $100 every week. Actually, I think I skipped last week. So I'll just do $200. So $200, I'll put $66 into XRP then. 2.395. Oops. So that's 27.557. All right. Oh, I can't actually change that. All right, and then I'll put some into Sui. Why is it not showing? This is really slow here. All right, $66, 3.9. Drop some in the AVAX. Wait, no. 2.8. Oh, I messed that up. I'm going to redo that. All right. So added $200 this week. It's usually $100 per week, but I didn't do it last week. So SUI, AVAX, and XRP. Getting ready for altcoin season. Be an ETH blue bottle boy. I'm off the ETH bandwagon. Usually what happens is, a lot of you guys are wondering, well, why haven't the alts really moved up? Usually when Bitcoin goes up, it sucks up all liquidity. And then what happens afterwards? Then the money flows back into alts. So if Bitcoin hits that next top and it stays there for a while, I don't think 110 is the top. I think we're going to probably hit like 120, 130. Once we get there and we steady out, that's when all the alts catch up and everything starts going up. That's usually how it works. Prize Fighter says, I want a Civic Type R. Not a bad card to get. Not a bad card to get. You know, if in December we really are like $500,000 or $600,000, then I'll probably give away a car. I'll give away a Type R or a Cybertruck or something. I'll probably do that if we're that high. What's going on with Chainlink? Why is it so criminally undervalued? That's how Chainlink is. It tends to go sideways for a long, long time, and then it like skyrockets. And then it goes sideways and skyrockets. That's usually how it is. Give away your G-Wagon. I might do that so I don't have to spend any more money. This scenario that Fred Krueger is presenting, it seems far-fetched, but you know what? The way the macro environment is shaping out to be, it's not so far-fetched. DXY, the strength of the dollar, has been going down, right? 10-year yield has been going up. 30-year yield has been going up, and they continue to go up because no one wants to buy our bonds or lend us money. It's going to cause a lot of panic. It's going to cause a lot of people to put their money into safe havens, and there's no better one than Bitcoin. Which indicators do you use to enter leverage trade? Just basically the ones I've been showing you guys. I don't use a lot of sophisticated stuff. Like I have stochastic that you see on the screen. I have RSI. These are just like really good indicators to see if something's oversold or not. You got to study an environment. If Bitcoin's going up, there's a really good chance that the alts are going up. Alts never go up when Bitcoin's going down. I mean, so there are certain things you look at. I just stick with the basics. Mike says, do you need a marketing generalist? I work in the federal contracting and would love to move over to crypto. I could, depends on what your skills are. I've hired a few people recently. I could always grow. Um, Mike, shoot me an email. You know, I'm not opposed. I don't know what a marketing generalist will actually do for me. Stanley says, my dad thinks I'm dumb for buying Bitcoin instead of paying off your car. Well, it depends on how much debt you really have, right? Like if you're like bleeding out your years with debt, then yeah, then he's right. But you know, if you just have some car, you know, a car loan like almost everyone else out there, you're doing just fine. You're not broke, and you're just putting money into Bitcoin instead. That sounds like it's a good plan. Right? It really depends on your situation. Everyone's situation is different. There are a lot of people that ask me, should I buy Bitcoin on credit card? You know, or should I take out a mortgage or equity loan to buy Bitcoin? No, to both of those. No. If you are that much into debt or you have no money, then you shouldn't be investing. Squad Z, I watch your videos every day. Will Pepe Moon? Yes, I think so. It's like a blue chip big cap, a blue chip meme. So, yes. What's your Brave prediction for month of June? I just think we see more of the same. I just think we're going to see slow trending upwards. I don't know where the next stop is. Bitcoin always moves in staircase manner. So, you know, let's zoom out a little bit here. You see how this is staircase right here, staircase right here. Wherever we go to, we'll probably staircase. We'll find some level. Maybe up here, 120, right? We'll go sideways a little bit. Tumbleweed, appreciate it, man. What does 100x look like? Gradual or rapid? 100x what? Leverage or just in general? Of course it's going to be gradual. No, you're not going to make 100x rapidly. Not even sure how to answer your question there. Blazo, appreciate it, man. Let's see what tomorrow. Futures market for tomorrow. This is looking like tomorrow could be a excellent day. There's a golden cross that's forming too. You know, a lot of people haven't paid attention to that. There are just a lot of things. A lot of things. Squad Z, I'm not going to give you that prediction, all right? I don't know what Brett and all those stuff and Whiff and all those stuff will be doing around Thanksgiving. Do you think there'll be another correction consolidation Q3? Yes, Eric. There always is. When we hit that next leg up, wherever it may be, 120, 130, 140, we will get that consolidation again. We will until probably October timeframe, and that's when we start going up again. So, you know, we might be going sideways for another 3 months. And we may even trend down from there, right? If we hit like, let's say 130, we may trend down to like 100 and then go back up. Like, you know, we might go sideways for a little bit. And then we wait for the next leg up. Scott, you know, that's not on ice because I don't have ice with me. I normally drink this on the rocks. Do you think Trump coin is a new Dogecoin of this current cycle? Antoine, that's actually an interesting question. I haven't even thought about that. I mean, I think Pepe's probably, well, Pepe came out of the last cycle, I guess. It kind of is mixed. I'd say Pepe's more like the Doge of this cycle, but it could be something else like Trump coin, obviously because Trump's influence, you know, but there's a lot of scrutiny now around it, so I don't know if that's going to affect things. All right, guys. I will conclude on this. So we finally did it. New all-time high, 110 and counting. Tomorrow we may be up even more. So it'll be interesting. All right. Smash with a like. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Have a good night. Enjoy your gains. And I got a special message for you guys before you leave. So take a listen.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.